Hello everyone. In this video, I will cover the best Scum base building tips for 2024 in my opinion. This information comes from my 3,000 hours of Scum gameplay and from my fellow Scum players. Now please note, these Scum base building tips are meant to help you improve your base design and especially if you are new to the game. You must always remember that no base is unraidable, they are only raid resistant. Scum is still an early access game, so some of the information in this video may change over time. Starting off with one of the first base building decisions you have to make is the location of your base. Now there are a lot of different things you need to consider when choosing your base location, but here are the few of the main ones I recommend. First, you want to make sure you are building your base on the highest ground. A lot of players make the mistake of building their base on the low ground, which puts their base at a disadvantage when it comes to raiding defense. Raiders will utilize the high ground to their advantage, which will make protecting your loot much more difficult. So if your base is at the high ground, then you will have the advantage over the raiders. Second, you should try to build on level ground. Building on uneven/slope ground will make it more difficult to build large wall sections and it can limit your possibilities for base design. Level ground will make it easier to create a base design that you desire rather than consistently having to deal with building interferences due to the uneven ground. Lastly, build in a location where you can utilize a prefab building in your base design. This will give you the capability to have a structure in your base that cannot be blown up, so the only way to get in is through lockpicking or through a window. Prefab windows can be easily fortified utilizing window fortifications or walls to block the window. The second major decision you have to make is the purpose of your base. This is something new players may not completely understand yet, but you need to build your base with a specific purpose in mind. What I mean by this is are you looking for a PvP/raid defense opportunities, or are you mainly looking for a base that'll protect your loot while you are out roaming the island? Now, if the base is done correctly, it can do both well, but for solo players and small squads, they may lean more towards a base that is fortified rather than worry about base defense and base defense options. The third common thing I see a lot of players in Scum doing wrong is not properly protecting their flag. The flag is what allows you to build your base in Scum, but your flag can be overtaken by enemy players, allowing your base to become theirs if it is not protected. So my main recommendations are to build a room inside your base dedicated to your flag and make sure you have the ability to access your flag in this room. The reason you want to be able to access your flag is because the flag gives you the capability to repair your base either from decay over time or from damage caused by raiders. But when building your flag room, make sure you do not place your flag on a foundation. The only reason you do not want to place your flag on a foundation is if raiders blow up the foundation the flag is sitting on, it will cause your flag to break, making your base available for raiders to put down their own flag, which will make your base theirs. Your flag also gives you the capability to see the flag area you have available to build in, so it is very important to have access to your flag during the base building process so you know what the limits are you have to work with. The fourth major tip on this list is to make sure you utilize multiple wall layers. Having multiple wall layers is critical for having a strong base design. Now, wall layers come in several forms, but the main ones are layer stacking and Troy walls. Both can be very effective due to the increased amount of resources needed to break through them by raiders. Layer stacking is as straightforward as it sounds, because all it requires is multiple wall layers to be built back to back. There are many different ways you can stack wall layers, but my main recommendation for players is to have a minimum of 3 wall layers, but remember, the more wall layers you have, the more effective your base is against explosives. Troy walls may be something newer players are not familiar with, but basically all Troy walls are small individual wall sections stacked side by side. Now, the reason Troy walls are commonly used is that they require very minimal resources to create and they require a large amount of resources to raid. Troy walls are very simple to create and can be used very effectively in combination with prefab buildings. The fifth major building strategy you should consider is utilizing honeycomb design concepts in your base in conjunction with multiple wall layers. If you are not familiar with honeycombing, then basically it means building sections throughout your base to prevent from having large open gaps inside your base walls. There are a lot of different ways to build honeycomb style bases, but the main thing to remember is just to compartmentalize your base so that there are more walls and more doors raiders have to get through. When utilizing the honeycomb technique, make sure to build an airlock at your main door. Airlocks will prevent base campers from camping your front door just to kill you while you're opening the door and having full access to your base. If you have an airlock in place, then if you get killed opening your main exterior door, you will have another door preventing them from having full access to your base. The sixth recommendation I have is to utilize door stacks. Door stacks are when you build multiple door frames next to each other. This gives you the ability to make your base much more time consuming for raiders, especially if you utilize dial locks in combination with door stacks. When building door stacks, make sure to build all the door frames side by side when they are tier 1, also known as wood tier. If you build, then upgrade individual door frames and then try to build another door frame next to it, you will be limited by how close you can get the frame because of the other door frame being upgraded. Also, when building door stacks, you want to leave a small gap between each door frame to help with upgrading them. If you build them with a small gap, it will make it much easier to find the hitbox of the frame when upgrading, because brick and concrete tiered door frames are slightly thicker than the other tiers, which will cause hitbox issues if they are too close together. The seventh recommendation I have is to utilize modular base elements to make elaborate base structures. Modular base elements give you the ability to create more complex base designs, but the main thing I find them useful for is base defense structures. There are a lot of different ways to build base defense structures with modular base elements, but the most common ones are towers. Now for some additional tips. When building, if you do not want base elements to snap together while trying to place them close together, you can hold shift while trying to place the element, which will prevent it from snapping to the other elements. This does not work on modular base elements. If you snap a base element, then hold shift, you can stay snapped at preset angles, which can be useful in helping keep your base uniform. When building, if you'd like to insert multiple items at once into a blueprint, you can utilize the keybind by pressing Shift F. To place the same blueprint that you just placed without opening your tab menu, utilize the keybind Alt+C. Utilize traps and mines in your flag area to help slow down raiders. These can easily be destroyed or avoided, but they will help slow down raiders, which can be beneficial for you when defending your base. Please remember, these are my opinions on the best scum base building tips for 2024. There are many different things and building strategies you can utilize that I did not cover in this video, but hopefully this helps you get a better understanding of ways to improve your base in Scum. If you'd like to see more weekly Scum content like this, make sure to subscribe. If you'd like to see more Scum tutorial videos, make sure you click the card at the top of the video. But like always, guys, do good, do have fun, and do be kind. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.